I want to say hello to everyone and welcome to the YouTube Mall Builders Thursday night general hangout. Thursday hangouts are for the general discussion on mall railroading that we all can set a topic to discuss for the night. My name's Johnny Reb from Southeast Rails. Thursday night hangouts are the proud sponsor of the YouTube Mall Builders, the EMAG, and the YouTube Mall Builders live show. The EMAG comes out every 2 months. The YouTube Builders Live show is monthly, usually on the third Saturday of the month. So we'll have one coming up here in a few weeks. The EMAG just came out about 2, 3 weeks ago. So if you haven't gotten it yet, go to the website, youtubemallbuilders.com, and you can download the EMAG right there. I'd like to ask that if you're not talking or presenting anything at the time, please mute your microphone so we can try and keep the background noise and possible echoes down to a minimum. I know they kind of pop in there occasionally on us. And if you're going to be smoking or drinking alcoholic beverages, please turn your camera off. Anybody want to start out?
Yeah, did I win yet?
No. All righty.
What's the giveaway prizes tonight?
We have none.
Oh man.
And I think my camera just went belly up.
Oh, no. We're going to take a collection to get Johnny a new camera.
Nah. S does this to me occasionally when I do a screen share. All right, I'll be right back when I do the instant restart.
Okay.
Quick, everybody, if you want a drink, now's the time to do it. He's not here.
I got mine.
Maybe he should invest in one of those 99-cent cameras off eBay.
Oh, hush, Phil. It's not the camera. It's the either the computer or the
Operator?
no. The camera was working until I did screen share. But anyhow, any viewers that we have come in, we have the Q&A, which you're already in there. Down at the bottom of the Q&A, you can type in whatever questions you have, and we'll try and answer them for you. If not, we'll try and point you in the right direction to get an answer.
I've got something I'd like to share on show and tell.
Alrighty, let me get you up here.
Now, this might be known by other people, but I just got this in the mail. Schrader's Railroad Catalog. They're out of Michigan. They got some pretty neat items in there. They have a website called railroadcatalog.com. But they have some awesome items in here. They got some nice road name T-shirts and winter caps, and I mean they got all kinds of stuff in here. But
I see a picture of that doorstop you were talking about.
oh, make me find it all over again here. Hold on.
Yeah.
They got those couplers for your trailer hitch too, which really look cool. It looks like you could hook your truck up to a rolling stock.
Yeah.
But you had to ask for the one thing that's hard to find.
Railroad coupler doorstop. Okay.
It's made out of brass. It's $80, but I bet it's heavy.
Yeah.
That trailer hitch deal is, which would probably get stolen in today's world. It really looks kind of cool too. It's a cast aluminum receiver coupler for the back of your pickup truck.
Huh. Yeah, I don't think you'll be hooking up no rolling stock with that.
Well, I mean, it looks like he could back up and, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just in our pretend play world. You know? All right.
Just a bigger shin knocker is what that is.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's for sure.
You can stop presenting me now.
I did.
Oh, okay.
I'm fixing to present Ron over here. How's it coming along there, Ron?
It's going all right. This one part, this is a Hydrocal kit from Downtown Deco. It's my first experience with Hydrocal kits. It's a little bit of a challenge. I've never dealt with the plaster aspect of the main issue that I've noticed is trying to hide the seams where the corners meet. Got one on the outside here, and they got two on the back.
Yeah.
What I'm doing, I used 2-part epoxy and glued all the pieces together. Once that was dry, I took some plaster, mixed a small batch of it, and actually filled in the crease, the little grooves. Once that dried, I sanded it smooth. I took my X-Acto blade and just scored it to make it look like the brick. And it hit it all right. I figured I'll hide it with downspouts and some weathering and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not too bad. What I'm doing now is I'm starting to paint all the lintels and the arched concrete and stuff like that, and inside the window frames.
Yeah. That one wall over where it looked like some of the stucco had come up, you gonna leave that white there, or?
Well, this has one coat of a really thin India ink on it, just to kind of bring out some of the creases, and it's a little bit too light. I just had a hiccup. I put too many drops in, and right down in this bottom here, that's too much India ink, not diluted enough, I guess you'd say. So
Yeah.
that's a little. Again, you just hide it with a bush.
Well, I'm just wondering if you could just go back with some just straight alcohol and dilute that right there.
This, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I usually dirty up the bottom anyway. Like rain kicks up the dirt and grime and just maybe trash cans or something. So I'm not too worried about the bottom. It'll just be more beat up dirt and stuff. So I usually do that along the bottom of a lot of walls. Anyway, I'll grime them up a bit. Just think of the natural rain hitting the ground and splashing stuff up on the wall.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I'm about to paint this here, this little window in the back. See if you can see that there. It has some wood grain on there. Right now it's just the white primer. I put a couple coats of just regular Krylon primer on this. So I'm going to try and make that look like wood. And we'll see how it turns out.
Yeah.
A lot of
Sounds
times
looking good so far.
Yeah, the color I just used some of that apple barrel paint. There's cheap paints. Let me see. I don't have any specific. I know they make like colors that look like brick and all that stuff. All I did was take this really bright. It's called bright red, and this is nutmeg brown. It just happened to be a couple colors I had laying around, and I just mixed about 50-50 of each color, mixed it and blended it together, and that's actually the color that I came up with. It's kind of an orangey brick color.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty satisfied with that for the base color. I'll come in and I'll weather up and stuff. And some of these darker spots, I'm not sure if that's picking up on the camera or not.
Yeah.
That is a diluted rail brown color with really thin. I made a wash out of it. There's some spots on here where like the brick supposedly got knocked out or something or loosened up, and I just pulled it in there, and it's diluted down with a lot of IPA alcohol, and once it evaporated, it kind of left this shadowed area. So I'll go in there and lighten it up. It's a little bit dark for my taste, but I'll lighten it up with some weathering on there, probably some chalks or something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Maybe,
this back wall.
Go ahead.
This back wall, for some reason, they have like an exposed stone. Might have been maybe a patchwork or something like that.
Come down just a little bit. We can't see it. There you go. Yeah.
And what I did with this, I used diluted India ink, and I put a little gray paint into it and gave it a wash. It looked all right, like some of the recessed stone and everything kind of pulled in there and gave a little darkness to it. But
Yeah.
it just looked too blob to it. So I took actually some of the Bragdon weathering chalks and hit some of the stone with some different like rust colors and tans and oranges and stuff to give it that random like fieldstone look to it.
Mm-hmm.
Give it a little bit more character.
Yeah, it came out good.
You just put those Bragdon chalks on directly, or did you make a little a wash out of them?
Nope, just put it on there directly.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty intense. It's a heavy chalk or pigment actually almost.
Yeah.
It
Now,
grabs
when you do that, Ron, are you taking a paintbrush and say cutting most of the bristles off so it's fairly stiff using the
well, pretty
powders?
similar. I use this brush right here. This is like one of those cheap little paint brushes, but it's got those black nylon bristles on it,
Uh-huh.
and it's really stiff. So I just with the Bragdon paint, the chalks they have, as soon as you like barely touch the brush, you don't even have to touch it. It's almost like a static cling. You just tap it lightly on the pile, and just a little bit will snag onto the tip of that brush. And then I just kind of mushed it on where the bricks are and stuff, individual colors.
Yeah.
And if I didn't like it, I would just wipe it off.
Yeah.
So this is the result I got so far. Excuse me.
Looks
So
good.
I'll see how this board comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how that works out.
Yeah, maybe we can get Jim interested in doing the hydrocal building.
Oh no.
Now he's done the courthouse.
No.
Why not?
Good.
I want to.
Excuse me.
After I seen what that Muskoka Steve did, I want to try one.
I was fixing to say all the cool kids are doing it, Jim. I mean, you got Ron doing it now. Phil's doing it.
Don't worry, Jim. This will be my first and last, probably.
I'm not a cool kid.
How you doing, Bill?
For the base color, I think I'm just going to use aged concrete.
Yeah.
And if Ron don't want it like it, then I don't like it. That's the way I figure it.
There you go. Don't go by my recommendation.
Now, if you don't like it, I don't like it.
It's okay. It's not bad. Just you know how some people have their material of choice.
Now, what color are you using on that?
Poly scale aged concrete.
Aged concrete.
It's just like a tannish gray, old concrete looking color. And I actually see it as a good wood base color.
Can you scoot to the left or tilt your camera up a little bit?
Yep.
One thing about hydrocal,
that helps.
One thing about hydrocal, it will absorb the color.
Yeah, but I sprayed 2 coats of Krylon primer and sealed it. I use this stuff here.
Yeah.
I've heard some people use clear. Some people use, if your building's going to be gray in the end, use the gray primer. But I had some white. That's what I used.
Yeah, sometimes you just, like if you're doing a brick color, you just put it straight over the hydrocal and it absorbs it in and it gets to look more like real brick, really.
Yeah. This is like a thinned wash. I used a couple apple barrel colors I mixed together, a bright red and a brown color. So it came out to be a pretty decent brick color. So that's the base color. I'll probably, see, I have no exact formula. So now I'm looking at it and I'm looking at the grain that's in here. And I'll probably hit it with a wash of India ink, real thin India, just to bring out the grain. And I'll see where I'm going from there. And there are some individual boards. It's hard to pick up even with my eye here, but I'll probably just take some, let's see, what colors can I fool around with here?
And some paints will dry darker, some will dry lighter.
Oh, yeah. Actually, to make it look This is my standby wash. It's kind of just a dirty, grimy wash. I started out with I put this tape on here so I don't get confused with regular railroad tie brown, I mean. And once the bottle got down to about a third empty, or a third left, I filled it. I put a couple squirts of India ink in there, and then some IPA alcohol in there, and just I shake that around, and it's kind of just like almost like one of those, what are they, AK or the MIG washes and stuff that they have, those paints.
Yeah.
They have like pre-mixed washes. This is kind of like my own wash. It's good, kind of a nice grimy wash to it. We'll see how that turns out.
You're not going to wait till that's dry first, eh?
Oh no. If what it does is if you put it on there, it'll kind of blend and blend the colors together, really. This might be a little bit too dark, so I think we're going to dilute it down with some alcohol. I'll put it in a little separate container here. Just a couple brushes full.
Couple loops.
Yep. You don't want to pour it in there, it'll probably be too much. Just to thin it down a little bit so it's a really watery, brown, grimy look to it. And let's experiment. Why not?
Are you trying to let it kind of follow the capillary action? Is that what you're trying to do?
Yeah, and I'm trying to kind of do it on different boards, not like every other board. Like maybe I'll do two boards together and I'll skip one and then do two boards together. This is a big brush, but it doesn't matter. I end up usually doing a lot of different coats. Now, what it's doing, let me see if I can hold this up, if you can pick it up or not, is it wicked across, like you were saying, and there's some lighter boards where the regular aged concrete's coming through, and there's some darker boards where that grime kind of settled in.
Right.
Now that I'll usually let that evaporate. With the alcohol, it's usually fairly quick. This is where I guess I need a hair dryer.
I wouldn't know anything about that.
It's hard to use a Bic razor, though. It doesn't dry that well.
Yeah.
You don't even have to shave, do you, Johnny?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
The beard makes up for the lack of hair on top.
I meant the top of your head.
Oh, no, I don't do that.
So let's see. This is the Bragdon chalk set that I have, the weathering set.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, nobody sneeze, because otherwise this is going to go all over the place. I'll probably do a couple streaks of this. This is kind of like a light tannish yellow color. I'll do some streaks of this real light brown and probably this dark brown. Actually, I can even throw a little of these grays in here. These for wood, I usually kind of hover in this area.
Yeah.
For those stones on the back of the building that I was showing you a little earlier, I did a couple of them with this light yellow, like creamy yellow, and then a couple of the rust colors and stuff. I hit it with that just to give some variety and kind of like a fieldstone look to it. And so a couple walls.
Good. Yeah, look good.
So that's the colors I use. That. So for the wood, I'll just hit it with these, like some grays here and there, and then the light browns.
We lost your camera.
There you go.
Yeah.
This Google Hangouts is eating up the battery on my phone. So I better do this quick.
Oh.
Let me go to a little bit smaller brush here, just to kind of pick up this chalk here. So you barely touch it, or where are we at here? There we go. You barely touch it, and you get a little bit of chalk right on the tip of that brush. and just drag it across.
You don't worry about cross-contamination of your chalks, huh?
Nah. They're all
Nah, he's just weathering that little building behind it at the same time he's doing that.
Yeah, you see that? This is another hydrocal one. I haven't even touched that. That just has the primer on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The kit that I got, it has had 2 buildings in it. This is the bigger one. This one here is a little long, narrow building with a really high-pitched roof on it. So all you're going for really is just kind of a variety of wood grain on here. Give the illusion of wood and some individual boards. Yeah, it's a little bit too much. So that was just, not sure how that's coming across.
Yeah. It's getting there.
Yeah, don't look bad.
Better than white.
Oh, definitely.
But what it just does, because this had some fairly deep grain in there, it just gets into those nooks and crannies and gives you the illusion of the grain with a pretty simple technique. I kind of stick to this technique. I mean, almost every time I do it, it's slightly different. And this is the first time I'm experimenting with the hydrocal and stuff, but since I primed it, it's almost similar to painting, I guess, primed wood. It's acting a little different, but similar effect. Now, what I could do is go, actually I'll do it right now. I'll just take some of this dark brown and streak it down underneath the window. Now I'm looking at this, just to give some dirt and junk kind of dripping out of that, coming, leaching out of the wood and stuff. And I'll hit with the black. Now the black's really strong. You gotta be careful with this one. I'll put it on and blow most of it off before I start really pushing it in there. And you want to try and keep it fairly vertical, because unless you're in a hurricane, water usually doesn't drip sideways.
Yeah, pretty much the same width as what you're doing it with, too.
So I have it a little heavier down one side than the other. And if I don't like it, you can always just wipe it off.
Yeah.
All right, not bad. That's a quick and easy way of making some basic grain on the on wood.
Well, looks good though.
I do like working with actual wood. I'll show you some effects that I got on actual wood. Now I just finished this kit last week, and all these roof shingles here. This is actual wood, and all the pieces of wood on this thing, my base coat stain was actually Minwax Jacobean or Jacobian, however you want to pronounce that, was all the same color. And then I went in and see if we can get some better light on here, like the decking boards and stuff. I hit that with some a driftwood stain, and that kind of grayed up those boards. This here I hit with some of that that railroad tie wash that I made, and got that into the nooks and crannies there. And then I took a light gray paint and made a wash out of it and just barely hit it. Almost gave it like a wood patina to it. And the logs, I think, on the bottom, the skids, I think I could probably do a little bit more work on them. but all these, even this tank in the back, I'm not sure how that's coming across. That's all individual boards that I hit with that Jacobine stain, and then kind of weathered them individually, and then cut it up. Jim, we were talking about earlier about that chopper. This is a good example of why you would need the chopper, because all these boards going around this drum are all the same length. And you just, once you set that, you just chop, chop, chop. It's an invaluable tool for something like that. Even though all these shingles are all the same length, but I just staggered them and kind of put them up there just to give it kind of a jagged look to it. But they're actually cut all the same length.
Yeah.
And that's done with that chopper. In case anybody doesn't know, if you're going to be working with wood or even some styrene, this is an invaluable tool. You got to get this. Or they have a chopper 3. I think Jim's looking to get one of those. It's same principle, just a longer deck, so you can handle longer boards easier.
Yeah, because that one's like 3 1/4 or 3 1/2 inch in length, and the chopper 3 will handle like 16 or 18 inch, something like that.
Yeah, this is the chopper 2. It's by Northwest Short Lines as the company.
The chopper will also cut styrene and cardboard.
Oh yeah, I use that on styrene kits a lot. And the blades are just regular straight razor blades. And then you just undo the screw, put a new blade in if it ever gets dull, and keep chopping away.
Yeah, one I've got's got a wood base to it. It's not the Northwest, but it works good too. It's got clamps in there, so I got stops and all that on it.
Yeah, it's a nice tool.
Yeah, that turned out really nice, Ron.
Thank you. I think Troy wants to buy it off me, but he's got to build his own. I might submit that to an NMR meet, and see what kind of points I can get on that thing.
Yeah.
I might earn a certificate or something.
So you're doing the AP program?
Not yet. I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, that's a good thing to get into. When you go do your publishing, you can put an article in the eMag. That counts.
Yep. There's an article I might submit about a track plan I came up with. I did a whole article on it about the background of the. I was inspired by. I was talking with a German guy one night. Actually, he was on one of these shows, Sven.
Yeah.
And he was showing me this industrial area in Germany, in Dusseldorf, Germany, and it had such an interesting track plan that I ended up writing.
Huh. Yeah.
You watched the video again, Ron?
I think we lost his phone. He said the Hangouts were eating the battery up on it. What you working on over there, Dave?
Oh, I'm taking parts to my fire station. Every layout has to have a fire department.
Oh, great. Another building I got to build. Let's see how you are.
Fire department, police department, courthouse, grocery store, gas station, bank,
Outhouses.
outhouses.
Jim, they did the courthouse. That's where they're going to try him when the police catch him for arson.
That's right.
That's the reason why he's got the police in the fire station and the courthouse.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're still presenting Ron, and all we see is a black screen.
All right.
There we go.
Not presenting him now. He gone.
Yeah.
Dead battery.
Bad battery.
Yeah, Jim, you could do an Amish house out by you,
There ain't no Amish real close to me.
isn't there?
There was, but I drove them away. They'd only had a 120-year history in the area, but I drove them out.
I see.
You done got the fire engines for your firehouse there, Dave?
Huh?
Gonna have a couple of fire engines for that house?
Oh yeah, I got those already. They need a home. Let's see what else we can get some more case.
Yeah, for the viewers, if you got questions, you can type them in down at the bottom of the Q&A there.
Hey Dave, you ever thought about putting saddles on some ants for horses out in your pasture?
I think the NCL horses are bigger than that.
Are they?
Yeah, the ants will be the little Shetland ponies.
Oh,
No,
okay.
it has to be the poodle dog.
Come on, I know you got bigger ants than that out there, Dave.
Them trees I see over on the house.
Yeah, he had those. Oh, there he's there. Never mind, I'll let him answer.
Yeah, I'm starting to do trees.
Yeah. Let's let everybody see what you got going on there.
Just don't show his face, because I seen his face on a poster at the post office.
Nah, you be quiet.
Oh, so I wasn't supposed to say anything.
Well, you're coming on along, aren't you there, Al?
Yeah, I haven't had much time to work on it this week, but I'm getting there a little at a time.
Yeah.
Actually, the foam board you see behind it is covering a window, which will be removable in the springtime, but for now it's going to be a backdrop because that four-letter word showed up last night.
Cold or snow?
Cold. And it was cold.
Yeah, we're going to be having some nights now in the low 50s here.
It was in the 40s this morning.
Yeah.
We're getting
All the windows were open.
Oh,
Where are you located at?
Huh?
Where are you located at?
Western Mass.
we got low 30s here the last couple nights.
Well, Karen sent me a picture this morning. She went to New Hampshire to her daughter's house, and they had frost on the ground.
Yeah, I'll be heading for Nebraska here in another 2 weeks. Spend a couple weeks up there and then come back.
Yeah, what you got in Nebraska? Vacation or?
No, my daughter's stupid. She's moving back up there again, so I got to drive the truck full of her furniture up there and then fly back.
Are you complaining, Bill?
Huh?
Are you complaining? She's moving
Yeah,
away.
actually I am.
Oh, are you?
It makes me wonder which one's stupid, her moving up there or him moving her up there.
Well, I got no choice. I mean, but the thing is, when you get parents that are starting to age, you need to get closer to them. She's moving further away. So.
Okay, maybe she is smart.
Thanks a lot.
Just trying to help.
The other daughter I can't get rid of.
Well, that's the one you want to get rid of, huh?
Yeah, she's talking about, well, if we all put our resources together and get a house we all can move into, I said, don't even go there.
That's the daughter I thought you were talking about. That's why I
No.
said.
The other one's a nomad. She moves from place to place all the time. Can't keep her one place too long.
I see Ryan come back. I guess he's on his laptop now.
Okay, you can get off my screen and put it back on his.
Sorry,
Wow.
sorry about that, guys.
Oh, what happens?
Yeah, the Google Hangout, I guess that eats up a phone battery like there's no tomorrow.
So does the wife.
Yeah, it will.
Been doing anything else lately, Phil? I know you just finished up on the big bill contest.
I started a depot. Despurred everything, filed, been squirting paint the last 2 days on base colors and stuff. It's Clarksville Depot, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, the red oxide primer and orange on it.
Says oxide primer.
Red oxide,
Yeah.
doesn't it look orange? Camera doesn't want to focus.
Yeah, it looks like it's got a little orange tinge. Yeah, when you turn it like that, yeah. But also could be, you got fluorescent lights there too, right?
Yeah. See, this is red.
Yeah. Go down a little bit so it's in the light. We're not seeing it. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Hey, Dave, you gonna change the color of that one I sent you at all? Or just weather it?
No, the color's fine. I just got to throw some dull coat on it and put the signs on it. Beat it up some more, yeah. I still got to build the foundation for it, the concrete pad.
Yeah. That's why I didn't put anything under it.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I'm on a structure binge. I'm gonna get my layout populated with some structures, so.
Yeah, it's just a covering over a cardboard structure.
So how did your house fare in that flood? Is it still flooded or what?
I don't know if it's you or me, but you're gargled.
Fine.
Yeah, I think it's Dave.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried putting a little bit of weathering on the roof.
I put Ron back on percent so we watch what he's done. He went into super slow motion. Oh, man.
It's the end of the day. I guess I get that way.
Yeah. Yeah, last meeting we had at the Piedmont meeting for the NMRA, we one of our own members did a presentation. It was pretty interesting. He's talking about how to keep your buildings in the time period that you're trying to do. Yeah, by watching what kind of windows are in the buildings. He said a lot of these kits you get just don't have the right windows or doors. You want to make sure you try to keep all the windows and doors where they're looking right. Yeah.
Yeah, or you buy a kit and you're trying to get it modernized and you wind up with Victorian windows and all in it.
Yeah. You got buildings there that have archways where you didn't have archways for the time period and all.
Mm-hmm. That's why I got to scratch build all mine. Can't find anything to go with the period of the style that I need.
That other hydrocal building there, Ron, is that going to have a hydrocal roof on that, or are they using?
No, they have styrene for this one. They're just sheets of styrene they give you in the kit. You can see how high the peak is.
Yeah, that's pretty steep.
Yeah, and let's see if I can get. It's gonna be like that, and then the bottom like maybe half inch or something gives a little flare out. And that's kind of what it's going for here. It's there's the box. I'm not sure if you can see that picture or not. That building's right here on the, what is that, the right side of it?
It's going to be kind of like a barbecue restaurant then.
Big Ed's Barbecue Shack, yeah. I'm not sure what I'll make it.
Yeah. How about Ron's homebrew?
There you go. So, to paint the doors.
I take it that white one's a church?
No. Restaurant.
Barbecue Shack. I didn't paint it. This is just primer on here now.
With the roof pitched that much?
Yeah, they wanted character.
Yeah, they got it.
Yeah. It's a real steep pitch.
That was for up in the snow countries, mountains. Kept the weight of the snow loads off.
Yep, just slide right off.
Bury your patrons.
That one you're working on has got a flat roof to it, right?
Yeah. It's just, it'll be flat. Maybe I'll put a slight pitch towards the back.
Yeah.
And I'll put what are they, scuppers or something like that, and then some downspouts on the edges.
Oh yeah.
I think that's what they're called, scuppers. I could be completely wrong. I don't do too many gutters.
Yeah. I used to work at a gutter supply place, and I can't recall what we called them. We didn't sell that many of them. In fact, he had to get them made down in South Georgia, handmade. There's a company down there that made them. Big boxes that went on the side of buildings.
Yeah.
You talking about collectors?
Well, yeah, they actually have another name, but
There's this amazing tool. It's called Google. I just Googled it. Scupper drains, and I guess you could use that on the side. Coming off the flat roofs, coming out the side of a building, going to downspouts and stuff.
yeah, I think on houses they're called something else. I can't remember. We used to have them on the house that we grew up in down at Emery.
The industrial buildings they have down here, I've got were rain runoffs into these things they call collectors, and then that water goes off into the actual
Downspouts and stuff.
well, it goes in, pours it off it like it's a waterfall. It pours it off into the gutters, and then it goes down into downspouts. It regulates the amount of water that hits the ground at one time. Because almost everything they got down here is either sand or lime rock, and they don't want it washing out.
Yeah. I know it's got a few viewers. Any y'all have any questions or comments you want to make Put them down in the bottom in the question box. It's going to be interesting to see what dude finishes up with now. He's got a new real estate add on to his layout. No, he said he's going to move his Helix.
We need to get Phil there to get a remote camera or something so we can see what his layout's looking like.
It really hasn't gone very far there, Bill. Just got the plan laying on top of the track. We've had some financial difficulties, so all I did was buy some turnouts, and I'm hoping this month to purchase some more track so I can at least start laying some track. So nothing's really changed from the last time you've seen it.
Okay.
Other than there's a lot of crap sitting on top of her, you know.
Well, from what you told me from the last time I saw it, you had added another section to it.
Oh, I was going to add the yard table in the back. I just have the drawings for that. I haven't built it yet.
No, something out toward the pool.
Oh, I went back and I've decided I was going to add a divider between, and yeah, I guess I did. I added 4 more feet in length, so it's 12 foot by 4 foot, and then along the one edge there's an L on the bottom that's 2.5 foot wide and goes out.
4 foot wide, you can walk around it, right?
Yeah, the 4 foot wide piece I can, yeah. Yeah, the other one's only like say 2.5 wide, and it's let's see, it's 6 feet long, but it attaches to the 4 foot, so it's 10 foot across. So right now it's L-shaped, 10 by 12. And that's all the bigger it can be. I can't go any bigger in this house.
Yeah. But you're still going to do that roll out staging yard, aren't you?
Yeah. I probably
full-size rolling transfer table.
What's that?
A full-size rolling transfer table.
Yeah. Yes. A 2 foot by 4 foot rolling transfer table.
So you having to put the glazing on first before you put those windows in, Ron? Yeah, where your microphone's muted. There you go.
So I did a bunch of talking for no reason. Yeah, because on the window openings, there's a little lip that the frame goes against. And if I didn't glaze it first, you'd almost miss like a 1/16 of an inch all the way around it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to keep that lip there so it makes it a lot easier to glue.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking of carving it out and trying to get it to match the window frame. I was like, you know what, it's not worth it. I go crazy trying to get that to match, and if you shave a little bit too much off, then it's real difficult to put it back on.
Yep, you'll have a gap in it.
Yep. I think I'm just going to glue all these doors and window frames right onto the right onto here, and I can cut some of these out. The quick and dirty way.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with quick and dirty
Gets the job done.
when it works. Using the acetate that came with the kit, or
Oh yeah, this is a piece that came with the kit. I do have some thinner stuff. I think I was showing you guys earlier some of these tags.
yeah, yeah.
This is actually, I'll probably use this. This is a lot thinner. Thanks for reminding me.
No problem. You get the bill at the end of the month.
All right. So I'll just grab a few sheets of that. It's a lot thinner. Works nice.
Troy wants me to run you a tab so he can get that steam donkey.
I told him it's $950.
No, that's the reason why he asked me to run the tab, huh?
There's one thing with the N scale, trying to put all that little clear styrene for window glazing. It gets not only tedious, but it has a tendency of putting a lot of glue marks on it.
Yeah.
It's so small. So
Yeah,
I use that Tester's window maker. It's a liquid, and you run it around the window frames until it gets closed up with it, and then let it dry, and it dries clear. And for the early 1900s period that I'm doing, window glazing had that kind of a ripple effect to it when the light hit it, because they didn't have the process down pat how to make window glazing.
Yeah.
So it looks more realistic with this stuff.
Yeah, I was fixing to ask, then you get that ripple in there, but
Yeah, it does. It looks so realistic. It's even when you get a little bit of light onto it at an angle, it gives it that blue rose hues to it, like you used to get with the old windows.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's perfect. I mean, I love this stuff. We got about 6 bottles of it just so I can do all the glazing with it.
That's the same stuff I use when I glue my windows in, because when it dries, it comes out white, so it's easy to see for myself, you know, my eye problems. And then when it dries, it's clear and transparent. If a little bit happens to ooze out into the window, you can't see it.
Right. Like if I put like storefront, I'll use the acetate clear and use this to glue it in place.
Hey, Andy.
Mr. Andy,
Hey boys, what's up, Jimmy, Johnny?
thought you might be out on the road this week.
I was just working late a little bit, running a little bit behind.
Yeah,
Andy,
No hi for me.
Well,
we can
yeah,
all.
brother.
It's all about me, man. Hi, Andy.
hey Andy,
Did you just call Philip Wyman beautiful, Andy?
No, I'm pretty sure I skipped that part.
Andy,
What's up, Bill?
how you doing? Hey, question on that light green leaf flake that you're using. What brand is that?
Selkirk. Spelled like that. SELKIRK. Selkirkleaf.com, and it's the only thing they make. It's just this leaf flake. Now, there's nothing wrong with Scenic Express's leaf flake. I use it too. But Selkirk leaf, among having a bunch of different colors, and only making that, and it's a really great product. It's my favorite. But they also make 3 different sizes, and nobody else does that. So I can get the really fine stuff in the background, and on some of the vinery that I make that recreates the kudzu vine that's so prevalent in Appalachia. I had to make that. Nobody makes a kudzu vine. You know, you go to Knock and get ferns and get, you know, laser cut paper ferns, and you can get rose vines and tulips and all kinds of stuff. Nobody makes kudzu, and I needed a lot of it, and I've been making a lot of it, and I do it fine, extra fine leaf. So they make extra fine, fine, and standard. For O gauge, standard is perfect, and I have a little bit of that, and I'm using it on 4 gram trees, you know, right in the front. And then most of my trees are made with the fine leaf, and then I use the extra fine on top of a little bit of ground foam for my background trees, just to give them a little bit of leaf and, you know, make them look further back, a little fuzzier. And then I use the extra fine for the vinery. And in scale, you would want to use the extra fine. And that's something I found, is that if you were in scale, nobody makes a leaf flake material that's really fine enough but these guys. Or if you're in O scale, nobody makes a leaf flake material that's really large enough for you, except for them, because they make the standard. So the different sizes, and they have a really tremendous repertoire of colors too.
Yeah, I want the light green and the super fine. You're talking about kudzu. Actually, that started in the south and it worked its way north.
Yeah, they actually brought it from South America in the 19...
It's an invasive species that...
Yeah, it takes over everything. The Eisenhower interstate system imported it from South America to plant on the side of the interstates to handle overgrowth, and it just took over this country. But it's not native to North America. It's native to South America.
Right. Howell's the guy that brought it over here originally. In fact, he's into racing and he builds chassis. He calls them kudzu chassis.
How about that? You know, this is
Anyway,
it's so crazy that to be a model railroader, you have to learn the history of tree systems. And
that's what I want it for. Is I want to make vines to put up along the side of the buildings. You know.
Well, get the extra fine, and I've made some with thread and glued some of that to thread. So I took like 6 pieces of thread and stretched it out. Also, I use the brown when I'm making my vines, and then I paint it with one of these Rust-Oleum camouflage kind of green colors. This is my favorite, but actually I use a mix of a Krylon darker green, a little bit of this, and then I overdo it with this. But I start with the brown leaf flake material so that I can have a little bit of brown down deep, because I model early spring. So if you model fall or spring, the kudzu vines get slightly brown in the leaves that are underneath.
Yeah, well, I'm doing the early spring, but I use fine brown thread.
Yep.
Put knots in it every so often and put the leaves on where the knots are, and it makes a nice vine.
Absolutely. The thread is a great way to make a climbing vine. I'm doing the exact same thing. And the extra fine leaf is perfect. And I buy, since you're modeling early spring like I am, you want a little bit of brown left over from winter in the undergrowth. So I don't leave much. I mean, you have to really look in there to see the brown, but I put the brown leaf flake on and then spray the whole mess lightly with the distance.
Yep, thank you.
A bunch of ways, and I use that.
How do you spell that again?
Selkirk leaf, and it's here. I'll paste the link. Selkirk for anybody that happens to be listening or listening later. Selkirk leaf. Selkirk.
Okay, because Scenic Express does not have that in their catalog.
No, you have to buy it direct from them. It's gonna come from Canada, so it comes through customs. So it's a nice big bag of green stuff coming through customs. So it takes a few days.
Yeah, I gotta make sure that's what it is, huh?
Yeah. That's what I figured. I laughed about it because it took a few days extra, but I mean, it comes from Canada, so it takes a few extra days. But shipping's not bad. It's not expensive. It's a few dollars a bag, and if you buy the double bag, so it's like $4.50 or something like that for a single bag, or for like $3.75 more, you can get what they say is a double size bag. But it's actually just 2 bags of the same size, so you can actually get it for a little less if you'll buy 2 bags worth of it. And
how much is it?
Price wise or size wise?
Price wise.
It's like $4.50 for a single size bag, or $3.75 more for a double size bag. So call it
Okay,
$8.
$4.50, and that's for what? 8 ounces?
Let's see what it says here. It's a pretty good bunch of it. It's a 4 by 6 inch bag, I think, is what we looked it up.
Yeah, it's about 8 ounces, 6 ounces.
And it has quite a bit of coverage. Of course, again, modeling early spring, I go for a somewhat transparent look to my trees, for example.
I'll probably get about 10 bags of it.
And the spring green, by the way, the pictures on the page, of course, this is the nature of things. Colors are really hard to figure out on web pages. The spring green is almost yellow, which is cool. I use it, but I didn't expect it to be as yellow as it was when it comes in. It's basically yellow.
Well, spring is usually the reverse of fall.
Yep.
Yeah, it goes green, yellows, oranges, browns, and then you have the brown left over, and then it goes back to a real light yellow, then a green, and back to a darker green.
Yeah, I've said before, I've ended up not being that much of a model railroader these days, but a model tree maker. That's part of modeling Appalachia. And I'm glad that I got started making trees as early in this process as I did, because so far I've already made 100 trees, and it covered 4-foot lineal sections, so like 4 foot by 15, 16 inches by 4 foot, with one box of super trees, and I use about 7 or 8 bags of Selkirk leaf and quite a bit of a little bit of ground foam. I don't use much ground foam. For anything. I like static grass on the ground and dirt and leaves, real leaves, and I like the leaf flake on trees. I use a little bit of ground foam on my most background trees. Those couple trees row in the main back, I use a little bit of ground foam, and then I put leaf flake over top of it and spray paint it. And I spray paint some of the leaf flake right on the trees to give more variance, because you can get 3 or 4 different colors of green. But if you go look at trees in the wilderness, there's a dozen colors of green in a
all different shades, different species.
And from the bottom to the top. Some of them have
Exactly.
lighter leaves on the top and bottom. So the only way to recreate that is I've been doing it with rattle cans, but my goal is to get an airbrush to help me do more of that.
Baked or mashed? Mashed.
And I'm still working on my most foreground of trees and how I do those. But it's a working process. And I make trees like 5 different ways. Actually, I made one. Actually, I made an armature with a grape stem, but I haven't put any bush on it. But I don't like the one I have or something, because I'm not. Here, I'll show you. Might have something to do with my scale too, but I took one, cleaned it up, spray painted it, and I just.
Yeah, that's a small one.
Yeah, I'm just not happy with.
Let me get the one I got here. This is more what you need.
Now I make a lot of them with, I start out with a stick that I like the core architecture for, and most importantly, more than anything than the architecture is the bark. That's really hard to recreate on foreground trees. So on my most foreground trees, I find a stick that has a nice bark. The rest of
there's one there.
Yeah, that looks better. Well, see, this has like a bunch of very small stems on it or whatever, and they're all really thick, so there's no, tree. Okay, so you have my problem with trees is when you buy armatures, Woodland Scenic, Scenic Express, Super Tree, doesn't matter what it is, they are either too fine for the central trunk or not fine enough for the branch structure. So it's either all too thick or all too fine. And the only way I found to work that is to take something thick and glue something thin to it for my most foreground trees. Now, I'm not going to do that for my canopy.
Yeah, but you see that, though, that's a tall and it's full.
Yeah. And it has, like I said, it needs a certain laciness to it. So it needs a nice thick trunk, but it needs a much more lacy branch structure. Like I said, the only way I found to make that is a combination of this very lacy Scenic Express material glued to something much thicker. That gives you the best of both worlds. That gives you a thick branch structure, especially with the bark architecture. It gives you a somewhat delicate branch architecture that I'm much happier with for some trees. Now, like I've said many times, I'm a fan of diversity, and I think that you need Ron just popped in here a second ago, but to give him credit, but that method of using that he does for trees makes great canopy, forest canopy, and you would be amiss if you're building a whole forest to not use some of those trees that are using Ron's method. Give him credit when he pops back in. I also use this stuff right here. This is they call it. It's from Selkirk Leaf. They call it branch netting. But I won't ever buy it again because I'll make it for paintbrushes. So I've cut up paintbrushes and made this same stuff. It's like Woodland Scenics grass material, but it's coarse as it can be. I mean, it's I'll tell you what, I've made some.
Yeah, that makes that tall, what we call around here swamp grass, or.
And I've used it for some coarse grass in a couple areas up on the tops of the mountains that I've just been playing with it, and I like the results. I've used paintbrush bristles, cut up and then stained with. I got some yellow, but stained with cheap acrylic paint. But I basically stain it while it's on the brush, leave the paint in the brush, and then cut it while it's wet. Spread it out, let it dry, kind of scrape it loose off the styrofoam plate. But this stuff, what they mean for you to do with this branch netting and what you can do with paintbrush bristles is take a tree, one that has more structure than this, but not the delicate structure, but more than this, spray it with spray adhesive and let it tack up, and then stick it to it and pull away, stick it to it and pull away, and create branch structure coming off from it, much the same way as I apply that really tall grass that I've been applying. I do that by hand. I don't use an applicator or static grass applicator. I put adhesive down and stick the grass to it. Joey recalls.
You're giving whisker stems on it.
Yep. And then I take, it's a process. And then I take cheap battery shears or whatever and come back and take off some of the stupid ones that are wild and kind of do some digs into it to make some diversity and the waviness to it. And this $20. This is a must-have if you're working tall grass. Period.
Yeah.
I can't imagine doing as much as you need to do with scissors. Now you need a good pair of scissors too, good heavy-duty shears, and work it. And I'm happy with my tall grass results. I'm happy with my low grass results. I'm not happy with that mid area yet. My applicator doesn't apply it as well, and it's still too short to be applied by hand. So
40,000 volt ion generator.
that's what I need. I need just shy of what an electric chair uses to operate, apparently.
Yeah, you need to get that screen down as close to your grass as possible on short grass.
Yeah, no, I'm really happy with the way the short grass applies. It stands up. I don't have any problem. I've done a little yard. It looks great. I'm as happy as I can be with it. Another trick that I've found is, and I use multiple ways to apply the grass too. Spray adhesive is awesome, but it has a real shininess and sheen to it. So I do not apply static grass that I don't come back and dust it with dirt that I've sifted and then run through a lady's stocking. So I just spread a stocking over something and push the dirt through it and make some fine powder. And I use that over top of any time I apply grass, static grass, or most importantly, when I apply the grass that I apply by hand, I dust it with that stuff to cover up any glue.
Yeah, there was a fellow in our club down at Largo. They started building a small. They finished adding the tents peninsula. And they're building a kind of a residential area, like suburbs. And he put short static grass so thick that it looked like an uncut lawn.
Yeah.
So now he's got this little guy, HO gauge scale with an HO gauge lawnmower. He took a pair of mustache trimmers, the little electric ones, and he made some pass through it and put the guy with the lawnmower in it. It looks like he's cutting his grass. And I'll tell you what, you talk about realism.
Now, I've seen that effect and I like it. I do like that effect, especially for a diorama. I'm really weird about layouts. I have a real problem with the way we model railroad. Our trains are animated, and we switch them, and they interact with each other, and all kinds of stuff happens. Yet cars that should be zooming by on the highway are sitting still, and people are standing there mowing grass or throwing a ball or in a running stance, and they're not moving. So on my layout, I only put cars where they would be stopped. I've specifically designed my layout so it has no section of open highway where cars would just be moving. And then I always have people in standing positions, no moving positions. Like the day the world stood still. I'm just trying to do that. Although
let me ask you this: did you see the one video of the ON30 where he's running the train on the bottom, and there's a rock hauler truck up on the top that's actually running a highway?
Well, I was getting ready to mention that. Bush, I think it's Bush, BUSCH, whatever, the German company, has a car system that you lay a plaster highway.
It follows a magnet.
Yeah, or spackle. I use spackle. I'm getting ready to do some roads, a section of road right now, and you lay a little wire in the road, and it follows that road. And you can have switches or turnouts or whatever, to make cars go different paths on the road. You can have it pull into a gas station and stop, and then a lot of processes and animations, and it looks really good.
They have that all the way down into T scale. The smallest production trains, they even have that all the way down to there where buses and cars are actually running on the road that way.
But now to get American prototypes, you can get a few, but to get American prototypes, especially from 1950, to get American prototypes, I would have to buy some of those Bush cars, take the tops off them all. Now, I'm designing what I'm doing right now to where that won't be an issue, and nowhere on most of my layout will there be. There is one place where there's an open section of highway running through some trees that I don't have to model, but if I wanted to, it would be the perfect place for a small section of that Bush highway system, car system, or whatever they call it. But, and I'm really curious about that.
Put a log truck going up that dirt road.
Yeah, I wonder how you do that. They have the system for concrete. But this is 1950 in Appalachia, so there is some concrete, but there's a lot of gravel and a lot of dirt. This is something else I want to bring to your attention. This is a fabric. You're never going to be able to tell much about this stuff. It's a really fine fabric. Yeah, a mesh fabric. And I made some of that vinery and bush from this, which gives a little bit of a different look to it. And I'm really happy, again, diversity.
I use that for making the nets on the shrimp boat that I built for the club.
Yes, absolutely. Now, most of my...
Where'd you get that at? Fabric shop or?
Yeah, Hobby Lobby. I was looking for fake fur. I still have not found a good source for fake fur. And I bought a what do you call? I'm not a great fabrics guy. What do you call
a bolt?
That's it. That's the word. I bought a bolt of fake fur, and I couldn't find it in a light color. It's too dark, and I've tried to paint it. I've tried to dye it. I put it in the washing machine with a half a gallon of bleach. I feel like I can't make it change colors, and but this is what I use for most of my vinery. Is that?
Yeah. Furnace filter.
Yeah, and actually, this is the Woodland Scenics poly, whatever.
Okay.
Because I haven't found a furnace filter. I haven't found a furnace filter this fine. All the furnace filter I get a hold of is much coarser.
You got to pull the layers apart.
Yeah, but it still stay. I pulled it, worked it like Joey Ricard. This would look good in O scale, but Sven, long time ago when he was hanging around here, he turned me on to a material that they use in grease traps in restaurants that is thin like this. I just need to find a source for it.
Restaurant supply.
Yeah, there's got to be one of those somewhere. I have several things that I need to hit a restaurant supply for. Trevor Marshall, he's on Trademasters TV, whatever. He uses a spray bottle for olive oil that you pump up and then it sprays or it aspirates, you know. And I would really like to use that over. The best ones I find are these medicinal bottles. This is like chloroseptic or whatever. This is the best little trick in the world because everything else I get, these spray bottles or whatever, are okay for dribbling glue on. Like I can, basically spray it, but I'm dribbling it, letting it run in. It's a lot better than using an eyedropper, a lot faster.
Okay, you wear eyeglasses.
Yep.
Go to Walmart. Get you a bottle of eyeglass cleaner.
Yep.
Another spray bottle.
That.
No, there's one like this. Well, yeah, similar. There's one like this. And when you finish it, you can use it for spraying anything.
Yeah, and maybe that would work. It's small, and I started out with one of those. And when I was applying the ground lead to the base floor, I'm doing like 6 or 8 square feet at one time, and this sprays out in about a 3 or 4 or 5 inch square area. So to get that area wet, I had to fill this thing up about 8 or 9 times. Whereas, so I
use the big one first to get it wet, and then use that for your colors.
Yeah, I think it's when you're building a layout of any size. When I first started building my layout, I thought this is a small layout, no big deal, this will be fine. Last small railroad I was a big part of was a club, and we had an 80 by 24 layout. So my idea of a 15 by 15 layout is that it's small, but I am finding for a single person, this layout has some size to it.
Yeah, it's like the little layout that grew.
Let me interrupt for a second.
Sorry,
Dave.
Yeah.
Can you mute your mic? I think we're getting some feedback from you. I've been trying to figure out where it was coming from. Thank you. All right.
Not me this time.
No.
It's me sometimes too.
It's all of us from time to time.
No, it's Google. It's Google.
I can't get my mic to come on. It was working before the show. I mean, my camera. Then when I did a full screen, starting the show out, it wouldn't come back up after I got done presenting.
Have you tried refreshing your?
Oh yeah.
Well, like I keep telling people, you've heard me tell it to people, Johnny, before, is nothing else does what this does without spending a lot of money. This is free, and it is for free. It's awesome. And I'm not a Google fan.
Free is for me.
Yeah, and I'm not a Google fanboy. I don't use anything else Google has, pretty much. I don't even use Google search. But this is a good product. For us, it's a great product.
Yeah, remind me next time we're not in the show, I need to ask you about that search engine you're using. I tried it, and it wasn't working. Evidently, it was doing something wrong.
Well, we'll be on a Hangout before long, or after this one.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
I like it. Now, I do not like Bing, but I hate the idea of Google. I don't try to do anything. I'm not doing anything wrong, but I just don't like the idea of somebody knowing everything I do. I'm not doing anything wrong, but I don't have a totally glass house in my subdivision either. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, haven't you heard the Privacy Act went out the window?
We don't have that much privacy. That's why you have to claim what little you can. Like I said, I'm not trying to do anything wrong.
We got to get it back in trains again.
What's everybody working on? And actually, you got my attention to what Dave's working on just a second ago.
Yeah, I was fixing to present him again because he's
putting
wonders into his fire station.
A fire station. Very cool. I've been looking at Ron's been building that
How'd you go?
Yeah, man. And there's a fire station that I'm just enamored by. But Ron's got me a little afraid of the hydrocal now that he's been growling about working on it. But man, it's such beautiful stuff. I've got to catch Gino. He did hydrocal with superb results. I mean,
Yeah, Big Bill. Big Bill did the same thing. He's got several hydrocal
absolutely.
that came out really great.
And Gino has the hydrocal buildings on a video that shows his work. We really need to talk Big Bill into showing us. We need to talk Big Bill into doing an updated video because we haven't seen a video from his layout in a little bit. But I'd really like to see a little focus on some of his buildings because he has some exceptional, especially background buildings, just exceptional work.
Yeah.
I thought he was a beginner model railroader or something when I first started talking to him because he was just getting started on his railroad. No, Big Bill's a craftsman.
Yeah. How you doing, Andrew?
You don't have his ears on yet.
Yeah.
Andrew, what's it like down under?
Hey, Pawpaw.
The same to you.
Yeah.
It's starting to warm up. I'm tempted to put the air conditioner on.
Oh, you're killing me. It's starting to get cold here. You got started on that layout yet?
So was that Andy?
You got started on that layout yet?
No, I got to fix Troy up with some stuff first. But first of all, I got to pay for. I'm at the moment. I'm on a mate's computer while he's not using it. While mine gets fixed.
Excuses.
Yeah, I got a damn virus. I had to pay to have the bloody thing fixed. And turns out he couldn't fix it, and the shop next door couldn't fix it because of this virus. None of them could pick the virus up, so the only way we could get rid of the virus was to do a hard factory reset.
That's a surefire way to get it, but I could have fixed it. But you got to get railroading, brother. I'm excited to see what you've got planned out there. I'm really excited to see that being built. I really want to see that.
You've seen the track plan, haven't you?
Yep. Assuming that you haven't changed it since the last time I did, if you're using the diagonal switching section, and so I mean I've seen several iterations of your track plan, and it's a good plan. Good plan.
The main dog bone will stay the same.
Yep.
It's just the other extension module that whether I go just the one module or I somehow incorporate the two ideas in a. Some people like the S bend.
Yeah, it's a longer run. It's a longer run, but it's just not as prototypical. And I mean that's always the balance. You could always.
Yeah, but you're a fanatical prototypical twit. I'm not. I just want to run trains.
Fanatical. I don't know.
You're getting to be worse. You're getting to be
right,
worse.
You're a prototypical freaking nut.
Yes.
But I
was trying to find a diplomatic way of saying it.
You know me, Andy. I'm not. You know, this guy's going to be walking the tracks, taking pictures of every blade of grass to make sure he's got it right.
I do take pictures. Yeah. I have taken pictures of grass.
Hey, he'll wait till I've got a belt, and he'll buy a ticket to Australia just to come and pick the shit out of it.
I don't think nobody's working for it. Actually, there's nobody on here that I've ever gone in here and talked to that I haven't seen stuff that I've got ideas from. Nobody's just, everybody has their own idea, whatever makes you happy. I am not one of the rivet counters who wants to tell you you're wrong. You're not. Everybody's right. If you're happy, you're right. But I am a railroad modeler, so I do try to model to where I'm trying to recreate the real world. Not anything fantastical or anything in any kind of fantasy. I try to model the real thing. But you're modeling the real thing.
Are you trying to say we're not a railroad modeler?
No, not at all. Every one of you are. You're all modeling. You're all modeling the railroad. It's just.
It's the difference of realism that you want to pull out of it.
And Bill's there. How you going, mate? Haven't seen you for a while.
Yeah, I'm sitting back here.
You still don't see him.
He's sitting back on his boat. in his living room.
On his putt-putt.
It's a balance of how far you want to go, and this is not my first layout. So if I was doing my first layout, I wouldn't go so far over the top. But I've built quite a few layouts, and every layout's got closer to being accurate modeled, and I am very serious or nut. I'm fine with Philip's very not politically correct way of saying that. I'm a little bit of a nut.
Well, don't feel bad, Andy. I'm the same way.
Yeah, but you just kind of make it sound like he's not a model railroader because he's not doing it.
No, no. There's plenty of people who model like I do, who do have that idea.
Yeah. Don't worry about it, mate. I've been picked on by experts. Andy's got a bloody long way to go yet.
No, I understand that, but we're all kind of friends here and stuff, and it feels like a stab in the back when you're working your ass out trying to do something, and somebody turns around and says, "Well, you're not a model railroader. You're just building a train set."
Not at all. No, I would never. If you spend much time with me, you'll quickly find that I'll talk about prototype modeling, but I don't think at all anyway. If you're happy, you're doing the right thing in the hobby, and I've seen plenty of stuff every one of you've done that have taught me things, and what have you. And I might be a bit of a rivet counter, but I am not the rivet counter that is convinced you need to be one.
Yeah. Oh, we've got a rivet counter in the club here, Andy, to a point where we get to really annoy the crap out of people.
Oh yeah.
Like I tell a lot of people, you build the railroad to please yourself, no other bastard.
Yep, I will back you up 100%. I've said it 1,000 times. And just because I model the way I do, and I'll talk about it because that's what we're here doing is sharing the way we model, I am not at all convinced that my way is what will make other people happy. Actually, I will tell you, don't build track like this, okay? It will end you up in a home somewhere for the mentally ill, okay? The way I do things is most of the time over the top. Too much.
Yeah. We got one guy in the club. I call him a master modeler because he's a really good. He's mainly just interested in doing the fine detail buildings and fine landscaping. Locomotives and track are just secondary.
Hey, Al.
Opposite. Track and...
Where other guys in the club, their locomotive, they want their locomotive to have all the fine brass detail and track got to be exactly right.
Me too.
Other guys, I know we got one guy in the club. He's got the layout the side of the farm barn, right, up a mezzanine floor.
Yeah.
Well, think of it. You got 8 of your 18 wheelers side by side. Build a roof over it. That's his train room, right? N scale.
Wow. Is that the one? Did you show us video of that one?
Yeah, break.
Yeah, it's got
Right.
torque down, track down, all the points are manually changed. He's got a few buildings to represent the entity, but he's got no scenery whatsoever because he just does operations.
Yeah, Andrew.
I didn't do it.
I know. Bill's trying to ask Al something.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Al.
Yes, sir.
Is your train running around the base of a Christmas tree or on a tabletop?
Well, I guess you could call it a tabletop.
Okay, then you're a model railroader.
Well, no, you just understand what I'm saying. It just...
No, I'm just trying to, break something down. If you run around a Christmas tree, you're running toy trains. If you got it on a tabletop, you're a model railroader.
I got a small 19.5-foot tabletop, so I'm good.
That's good.
No, it's just the way it comes out sometimes. And look, I talk to him all the time. He's a great guy, but it just hit me the wrong way when he says, I'm a model railroader. It kind of implied that he wasn't.
Al, it's just a figure of speech, that's all.
I know.
I wouldn't worry about it, Al. He's always picking on me.
He picks on everybody, I pick on him too. It's just the way it came out.
Andrew, you don't cut me much slack either.
I don't take it for no one.
If I say something, you call me on it. I'll call you on it. It's all good.
Yeah.
I like it.
You know,
Well, anyway, Phil is wanting everybody to take a breath here for a second.
You stay out of this argument. This is our argument.
No, it's just, you know, there's different classes of model railroaders. You can go from simple tabletop, something to enjoy yourself with, all the way up to Andrew and Andy there and I, where we like to go over the top because we like realism. You know, if you're going to be a grass blade counter and stuff like that, or a rivet counter, I guess that's he and I. But, you know, there's other people that get just as much enjoyment out of it, like Phil over there. He's building the railroad the way he likes it, the way he's going to run it, the operation he wants. It's his railroad, you know, and he's enjoying it.
Hey, Andrew.
Doesn't make any difference what size or whatever it is. If you got a railroad on a tabletop, you're a model railroader.
And Andrew.
Yeah, mate.
I just remembered where you got that virus from.
Where?
That website you was telling me about you went to that had all the women from the 1930s and 1940s and the pinups.
No, that's one place I don't go, mate.
Yeah, I bet you that's where you got it from.
Unless you can get the real thing, mate, it's not worth the effort.
But I think that's where you picked it up from. You was window shopping. I told you not to visit the site that had them old ladies on it, but you didn't listen to me.
Hey, well, hey, Jim, how come you know all about it?
Because you told me.
You seem to know more about it than I
There
do.
you go.
Okay, well, we need to get back to trains now.
Yeah.
That's the after show topic.
Oh, you take all the fun out of it.
It just dawned on me where you got that virus from.
Well, I think this show went off topic 15 minutes after it started.
Yeah, Johnny's got his work cut out.
I had show and tell at that time.
Yeah, Johnny's got his work cut out for him tonight. But one thing I wanted to mention about the way that there's a nomenclature that's being used here lately. Model railroaders are the guys who look at the 30,000-foot view of trying to model railroad, and they're not toy train enthusiasts. We're all model railroaders, every one of us. Then there's the railroad modelers, and I don't know what the difference is per se, but most of the guys like Trainmaster TV and Model Railroad Hobbyist or whatever, those are the guys who are really trying to capture the exact prototypical operation. They're not running trains or looking to be able to run a train in a loop or anything like that. They're really, really down to prototypical accuracy. That doesn't make us any different. We're all modeling the same thing. But what's your objective? Is your objective to be able to get and some of the best, Ken Patterson, one of the greatest model railroad photographers of all time. He's got countless Walther's covers and Model Railroader magazine covers. Great photographer. Has a beautiful model railroad. He's one of my favorites. I follow him and I model a lot of his stuff. He models for what he calls the run-by effect. He does not have a point-to-point railroad. He's modeling prototypically accurate scenes that is some of the best scenery in the world. But he models it so he gets this run-by effect. He falls under that model railroader nomenclature, and he's a first-class one. Then there's the guys who are very, very specific about trying to exactly capture the way the real train does something. Those are the guys they're calling railroad modelers. Doesn't make us any different. It's just about what our objectives are.
George Celios example.
Yeah, y'all bring that up. I like the idea of the Ron Perry, that diorama he has where it's got seascape on one side, turns it around, got the landscape on the other.
Yep.
No view block because he's using that like a diorama to do his photographing.
Yep.
And that way he can have it outside, get the outside background in there without the seascape being in. If he's on the landscape side and he flips it around, it does the seascape without the landscape. I thought that was a pretty neat idea.
And a first-class modeler, but falls under the model railroader nomenclature with all the respect that title deserves, but is not a railroad modeler because his interest is not in modeling a railroad transportation system, but in creating something he enjoys looking at or photographing. And he's Ron Perret's a first-class modeler. I mean, he's exceptional. So there's nothing wrong with doing it that way. But then you got these nuts like me who are all about recreating exactly the way the railroad did it on an exact day in 1950. And there's plenty of us too, and we're all nuts. It's probably slightly off.
Yep.
Yeah. I'd love to model the zigzag railway here in Australia. But A, I can't get the buildings just I totally scratch build them.
Is it narrow gauge?
Secondly, I can't get the locomotives.
Yeah, that's a real problem. Is it narrow gauge or standard gauge?
It's a standard gauge, but it's a zigzag. A zigzag is way up the mountain.
Oh, yes, I know what you're talking about.
They got destroyed about 3 years ago in a bushfire. And the government finally come to the party to help restore a lot of locomotives. A lot of the locomotives got to be totally rebuilt from scratch.
Is it like a track? Does it have a track, or is it just a switchbacks?
It just switches back and forth as it goes up the hill.
Yeah,
zigzag.
Right, and I love the switchbacks, like logging, what Troy was doing, where he done the logging and he had those switchbacks. I think that's so fascinating to watch a train navigate that system.
Yeah, Denver Rio Grande Southern had switchbacks also.
But the L&N Railroad and now the CSX Railroad has a switchback called Hagen's Switchback coming from Kentucky into Virginia, and they push 100-car coal trains daily, run up there, pull them up into a valley, back them back up a switchback, and then head on. And that is a Class 1 main line for coal trains, and they run 18 to 20 trains a day through a switchback.
One thing I'd love to model, for a start, I'll give you a bit of background. In Tasmania, which is a little island at the bottom of Australia, all the roads are either called 4-foot roads or 6-foot roads.
Wow.
Because they're all railway lines. Because back in the early days, there was no cars on the island.
Right.
Everything went by train. There was no roads, and I mean there was no roads. And all the trains were gravity fed. Horses used to pull the empty wagons up to the top of the hill. They'd load them with the logs and the cargo and let them roll down the hill.
Yeah, it's common in South Africa.
When you got to one end, you'd hop off and you carry your stuff through the bush. Half a mile, hop on the next one. Now, all the railway lines and sleepers were made of wood.
The rails were wood.
Yeah, everything was made of wood. Because they went in logging, they just cut a tree down, mate their rails, mate their logs, and keep on going.
Oh, okay.
Y'all got the questions, Q&A up. Take a look at Pro there. He's made a couple of comments on your conversation.
Oh yeah, zigzag is 3'6", not SG, at least in preservation. If modeling back in revenue service, it was SG if locals and cars are available. Cars are available via the existing NSWGR HO. Oh yeah, and I've seen some of the NSWGR stuff that's out there. And I'll tell you, there's some. I wish I need to find that YouTube video and share that, but I'm sure you guys can see it. And there's not a lot of Australian modeling, so if you on YouTube necessarily, so if you go search for it, you'll find it. But there is a double-deck Australian prototype layout that is to die for.
He's got a link to the zigzag railway on there too.
All right, we got to check that out.
Oh, so I think the zigzag is a 3'6".
Let's check that out.
It's considered narrow gauge.
And I have a fascination with narrow gauge. Wow, look at those Bud-style passenger cars on the right-hand picture up there, going across that stone viaduct.
Where's the link?
It's in the Q&A. That's a beautiful. If you on the left-hand side, the bottom picture on the left-hand side of that stone viaduct, that is a beautiful railroad.
I haven't got them.
Here,
oh, it's right. Yep. Yeah, I've been on the zigzag when it was running.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it says it was an N-scale zigzag show layout going around for many years. It's been well modeled.
There's a YouTube video of it too. It's got a link right on the main panel. And I'm fascinated with narrow gauge in general. I just.
But I got to admit, it's been 50 years since I've been there.
How could that be true, brother? You're only 27 or 8 years old. I don't believe it.
I thought he actually helped build it.
I adjust my glasses with my middle finger.
Yeah, you gotta watch this YouTube video of this thing. Unbelievable at 1:50. This aerial drone footage showing the tracks, one navigating above the other up the mountain, running across these stone viaducts. This is a very, very modelable railroad. I mean, beautiful. 1:50 on that YouTube video. You gotta look at that.
We'll post the link.
10-4.
It's over there.
It's on that. It is on that page, but here I'll save you guys. I'll put it in the chat too.
Yeah.
Straight to the YouTube because it is some kind of exceptional. And look at that YouTube video. Go around 1:50. It is.
Yeah, have a look at the news release on the bushfire that went through.
Well,
Makes
yeah.
a grown man cry.
Oh, and it shows. You can see in this section where I'm looking at like 2 minutes and stuff here in this section where you can see where the bushfire just cleaned off all around the railroad. And I can imagine what this looked like before the fire cleared the mountain off, where it was heavily forested. This is just it's showing the bushfire at 2:47. It's showing it on fire. Oh, it was very heavily forested.
Oh yeah, the Blue Mountains there. It's
Beautiful. Gosh, then they showing the fire off in the distance at 4 minutes and it just smoking the sky up. A castle at 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Yeah, this is wow. 4 minutes and 40 seconds. The whole mountain's on fire.
yeah. See, the eucalyptus when it burns, it runs along the tops of the trees a lot of the time because the eucalyptus leaves when they get hot, they literally explode. The eucalyptus is very flammable.
Well, it sounds cool until the whole country goes up in flames.
Yep.
Wow, though. That is an exceptional railroad. I mean, that's really something special. Why do you not model that?
Because I can't get the rolling stock.
Well, you build it. How much could you possibly need? You know, there's a passenger train. It's got a British-looking locomotive, so you could buy a British-style locomotive and make a few changes to it. 4 passenger coaches. I mean, you wouldn't need a lot of equipment. You know, that's one of the things I love about narrow gauge is you could have an exceptional railroad, beautiful in all of its scenery, and have a different railroad, and have a couple locomotives and a few passenger cars or 20 freight cars, and your railroad, man. Now, me on the other hand, to do what I'm trying to do any justice whatsoever, I need 150 coal cars and around 12 locomotives, plus freight cars and a short passenger train. I mean, just to do it any justice at all, I need that much equipment to try to recreate what I'm trying to recreate. That's a lot of equipment. And in narrow gauge, I could accurately recreate what actually happened with 3 or 4 locomotives and 25 cars. And especially if you have a small area. I think narrow gauge gets overlooked a lot, and for good reason. Narrow gauge has been inordinately expensive, and you had to buy brass. But now that we have Blackstone models, you could buy, and there's some others too, but you could buy a small British narrow gauge locomotive from Zima or Lima or whatever, Lima, not Zima, Lima or one of those companies, and make a few modifications, and you would have this locomotive that's on the front page. And run it on 3-foot gauge rails. It wouldn't have to be 3'6". You could, but you'd have to hand lay that. But you could run it on 3-foot, and it'd be close enough. And you can buy flex track and turnouts, and microengineering makes flex track and turnouts for that stuff. Really good looking flex track and turnouts for narrow gauge. It's easy to model narrow gauge these days. Easier. And a HON3 layout roughly takes about the same amount of space as an N-scale layout. Has roughly the same turning radius.
I just posted another link on a zigzag.
Awesome. I'm kind of fascinated by this one.
Actually shows trains running.
Good. That last one really didn't. It was showing more about the bushfire than.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I said yeah.
The locomotive, and I love what foreign countries do. You can't say it's Brit or any particular country. This locomotive is bright blue. I mean, it's an
But
electric blue steam
you
locomotive.
can get those locomotives overseas in England.
Look at that thing, man. That locomotive is gorgeous.
Hornby now sells N-Skill, British.
See, there you are, brother. A Hornby locomotive, a couple passenger coaches. You're modeling the zigzag.
What do I turn my camera on?
Wow. This cut, the rock looks like you can reach out and touch the rock. It's right up against the train.
Yep, there you go.
That's my only HR locomotive.
Wow.
Fully DCC sound, everything. Australian made. In the Prince of Wales blue. Used to run in Victoria for the Royal Visit back in, oh God knows when, where the Dizzy Lizzy was out here.
All right, Dave. We'll catch you later. Have a good one.
Take it easy, Dave.
Dave, that's beautiful, Andrew. That's a really nice locomotive.
Yeah, it is really my pride and joy, and it's actually made for Australia. As you can see that.
Off trains. Yeah.
And the detail on it is unreal. It should be the bloody price I paid for it.
And there's such beautiful railroading that I am just starting to get exposed to, and I think so many modern railroaders overlook a lot of the foreign stuff. And there's some unbelievable, and you guys have heard me say it on here before, unbelievable modelers modeling non-American prototype. You know, from British to German, Swiss, Australia. There is some of the best modeling, hands down, bar none. Some of the best modeling is happening in those modelers recreating those models. And military modeling, I've said that before too. You know, some of those things are some of the best modeling out there. If you're not paying attention, if you're interested in weathering and you're not watching videos or looking online at military modeling, you're missing out.
One thing I'd like to model up here is the cane trains. Up here.
Sugarcane. There's a guy who models Louisiana, you know, U.S. modeler in Louisiana, who's modeled a HON 30 cane train. And then there's another guy who was modeling Jamaican or something, you know.
No, Hawaiian.
Hawaiian? Okay, yeah.
Hawaiian sugarcane, yeah.
Yeah, and modeling HON 30 sugarcane. That's a really, really interesting equipment.
Yeah, one of the guys who had a display at the train show in Brisbane a couple of years ago. He had the cane fields and everything there. Really beautiful job.
Yeah, the one doing a Hawaiian railroad, all his stuff is scratch built, the engines and everything. He just used the running gear and built the cab, boilers, and everything himself.
Listen, you guys want to call me serious. Scratch building a locomotive, that's some kind of serious.
Well, that's what I'm doing with my Camelback.
Man.
Well, Andy, when I was doing my trade as a shipwright, I built myself a scale model, a 1 in 40 scale model of a steam marine engine. 6 cylinder, dual pressure steam marine with forward and reverse gears and everything.
Wow.
I used to run it off 15 pounds of air off the bench.
Wow, pneumatically actuated. See,
Right.
The guys who do that stuff, I am enamored by that that level of scratch building. It's just.
And I built it in a government factory, and they let me build it, but I had to show them all the drawings, and I had to build it to bloody scale, to proper scale. None of this rough enough. It's close enough. And the apprentice master used to come along and measure everything, make sure it was according to the drawings and to scale.
Really? And you just
I had to
modeled
write
it yourself, yeah.
They let you do it, right? Because it's part of your tool trade.
Sure.
Do it in my lunchtime, of course.
But
And they had to pay for the material.
But they still judged what you were doing, yeah.
Yeah.
That's... What happened to that model?
My sister's got it down her place.
Huh. You need to show us some
Weighs
pictures.
about 10 kilo.
Yeah, you need to show us some pictures of that.
Yeah, might get some pictures one day. But it was a two-stage pressure steam engine. I was going to build the boiler for it, but I never got around to it.
You still got time. You need to get started on that. I'm fascinated by the idea.
A compound engine, Andrew?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically the same driving gear you see in the locomotive, but more compact. Like you got the forward and reversing gears on the normal steam. Like you got the same thing on a marine engine.
Yeah.
But everything's more compact to fit. Then you have your superheated steam and then your low pressure steam.
Whoa, who's running the table saw?
Oh, that's my lady neighbour. That's the worst part about living in the caravan park.
Sound like he's inside with you.
No, he's on the other side of the wall.
Huh?
What's that, about 3 inches away?
4 foot.
Tell him to put mufflers on it.
No, I don't want to argue with him. I want him to do me a favour later on today.
Yeah.
Well, I can see this show's winding down.
Yeah. You doing an after show, Jim?
Yeah, there's the link.
All right.
Yeah, I might pop over there now.
All right, y'all getting that link there?
Yeah.
Well, there it went. All right, because, I want to get all this going here. Come on. All right, tell you what, we're going to go ahead and bring this one to a close. And I want to say thank you to everybody. Jason just popped in. Jason, we got an after show going, so you pop in on that one there. Jim has got that one. But I want to say thank you to everybody for coming in tonight. We've had a pretty good show. Thank the viewers for watching and for your comments. And I want to say keep checking back in on the YouTubeModelBuilders.com website for all the latest news and info on presentations, Tuesday night presentations. Each week has a certain topic and a different presenter. Got Dave, Troy, Gino, and Barry. All 4 of them do a great job on their presentations. We got the E-Mag. JD's the editor of that. Does a fantastic job on the E-Magazine. That comes out every 2 months. We just had a new one come out a couple of weeks ago. If you haven't got it, go to the website, YouTubeModelBuilders.com. You can download it right there and also sign up for email notification. We also have a live show, which is the 3rd Saturday as a general rule of each month. That's with Big Bill, the host, and Barry's the IT that run the show. And you can go to YouTubeModelBuilders.com and get the schedule for that too. See what each month's show is going to be about. It's going to be on the show. So with that, I'd like to say thank you to everybody, and that will conclude this week's Thursday night general talk show. And I appreciate everybody coming in. We'll see you next week. Same time, same channel.